Welcome back, everybody. I'm having a nice pre-chat with Susan Gallagher. You may not recognize her because she's a beautiful woman, and you've seen her on Cobra Kai as somebody who looks just a little different as homeless Lynn. Please welcome to the program, Susan.
Thank you so much, Alan. I'm glad to be here.
It's my pleasure. You remind me a lot of a friend of mine who used to, she's a Chicagoan. She used to live in LA. I think maybe she's going to be moving back to LA or Atlanta. Her name is Candace Rose. She's a wonderful actress. She's been, lots and lots of stuff with kind of both coasts. And I always find it interesting that she's a strikingly beautiful woman, and the roles that she gets are of a homeless person, of a drug addict, of this mom who's just at her wits end. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, what is going on? Is this a niche that the Hollywood is trying to put all beautiful women in? It's either you're doing one sort of role or you're doing completely opposite. Have you found that to be the case, or it was just with Cobra Kai?
Uh, I can't wait to meet this Candace Rose. I'm going to check her out.
You should.
Um, yeah, no, I don't know. All I know is I was put in a very small box and living and working mostly in the Southeast in a regional market.
Yeah.
It was even a smaller box.
Yeah.
So even though I had lived and worked in Los Angeles, but I wanted to play character type roles, and none of my agents saw me as that. They saw me as what they had me in this little box, and that's the kinds of things that they would submit me for, and those, and I booked a lot of those, but I just really wanted meteor roles that I could sink my teeth into.
Yeah.
And it was almost easier to do an extreme kind of makeover with hair and makeup and wardrobe than just trying to go halfway. It was almost like it was easier to become homeless Lynn with the hair, makeup, and wardrobe than just to become a nondescript person that's pushing the story along kind of thing. So and I got to the age too where I could really darken the circles under the eyes and enhance the wrinkles. And I mean, I'm the type, I would wear a gray wig. I even told my agent probably 15 years ago, I said, I'm just going to get different wigs and I'm going to get different headshots. She's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. So I've always wanted to play the crazy lady, the homeless lady, the drug addict. And, I just like to work.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
our industry is a very interesting one. So yeah, but good for you. And I have a lot of friends who are in the southeast who are getting kind of very few opportunities because of their location. And as whatever is shooting there, there's a limited number of roles, and that's what you get. So Atlanta thankfully is a much better market and has been for a while. So lots of things coming out of there. I just auditioned, well, just a month and a half ago. I auditioned for a show. I'll tell you, later. I can't disclose that, but I had an
Okay.
audition for something that shoots in Atlanta. So keep your fingers crossed. That would be nice. And by the way, everybody who's watching this for Cobra Kai, we will get to Cobra Kai, I promise you. But this is a show of acting and all about acting. So I want to talk to Susan all about that as well. Um, I guess transitioning to Cobra Kai is you did what I do a lot. And by the way, no offense to my agents, actually it doesn't matter because I have new representation that I just signed with, so they have a fresh slate. But no offense to my previous agents, or offense, I don't care. Uh, my best auditions and my biggest opportunities, except for, okay, to be fair, except for the one that I just taped for Atlanta. Uh,
Okay. All right.
except for that one, everything else I'll stand by. So
Is it a big one? Because I just worked on that show.
I had a feeling
I mean,
because
is it like huge?
yeah, I had a feeling that because I was watching a number of your interviews and you mentioned something that you can't mention. I'm like,
Right.
I have a feeling because I may be in that same boat, but I have not heard anything. So and this particular show says, well, we expect you to be available through June of 2021. So
Right.
maybe I'll hear something, maybe I will not hear anything. Maybe they already shot the particular episode that I was auditioning for. I have no idea. Which, by the way, guys, if you're not familiar with our acting industry, that's precisely how it is. You
Yes.
are lucky to get an audition, and then it's not us getting rejected all the time that worries us. It's the fact that we never hear anything. We have no idea what it is.
No feedback,
Nothing.
zippo.
It's a black void. That's really what it is. It's like,
Yeah,
imagine asking a girl out and then not hearing an answer. And that's
I
it.
know. She
And
just,
then,
completely just dismissed it. But I would like to say too, my agents are great, but I mean, and I'm personal friends with a couple of them that I've had for over 20 years. So, but they, I mean, some are better than others because I have several different agents across the country, and some have taken more of a risk with me, submitting me for different types of roles than others. And then some of the, a couple of other ones that I've known forever, they're like, no, I want to see you as this. Even some of my friends and people who have known me forever, and even in our acting community, a couple of them, thank goodness it's only just a couple, but they don't even like to see me as Lynn. They're like, no, you cannot do that. And I've had friends of mine that are working actresses in the Central Florida market, and they're like, Susan, how can you let yourself look like that on international television? It's global. How can you do that? And so everybody has their own perspective and their own dreams and likes and dislikes. But it's been really interesting. A lot of people that did not know me very well prior to Cobra Kai
yeah.
have found me to be much more approachable now. Whereas before, when I just played a certain kind of role or whatever, looked a certain way,
Yeah.
they thought of me as a little unapproachable. And now everybody loves me, because they love Lynn. And it's like, oh my gosh, this woman's willing to look like that and have rotten teeth and, eat stuff off the ground. And, Johnny's cold, half-eaten pizza, even though I didn't really.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she's a rough character. She's sassy and she's absolutely filthy from head to toe.
Listen, you're doing this because you're an actress. You're doing this because you love acting. And you're doing this because it's a great show and you wanted to be a part of it. And as kind of, this whole dancing around the subject was, I love actors' access, which is what you did in order to get that role. It wasn't your agents that submitted you for it. It was you doing self-submissions.
Yeah. They would have just laughed. Yeah. But luckily, the casting, and the only reason that I even got a shot was that the casting director, Bajo, I did not know him. So he didn't know me. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe I hope he doesn't have an assistant that knows me, blah, blah, blah. Because I know most of the people in the Southeast, all over the South, So, that was why. I had a headshot. A buddy of mine has done lighting forever, lives right down the road. And a few years ago, I had him come over and just take some horrific looking pictures of me. I had put dark underneath my eyes and I had an old ratty t-shirt. And really what I was going for was kind of the tired, beat up waitress at Waffle House at 2 a.m. who's just met her daughter and grandson at the ER at 3 a.m. and she's just down on her luck. I mean, I had this whole backstory of this woman. Yeah. So I had a really bad headshot, and that's the one I submitted.
That's perfect. I love that, and we have to do these things. That's the issue. And with women, I find it even more frustrating because do casting directors and producers not understand that women can actually change the color of their hair? Is that a difficult concept to comprehend? I don't know.
It's got to be so easy. They've got to. It's frustrating, but you know what? You just got to hustle. This is the kind of business that we're in, and you can't sit around and whine and complain about it, or you're in the wrong business. And you got to have a very thick skin,
Yeah.
and be extremely flexible, because it's all about hurry up and wait.
Mhm.
And for your listeners, anybody new in this business, you have to be so passionate about acting to endure the rejection, the not being able to really plan your schedule. Because I mean, I'm not at the point in my career where I can dictate to anybody else, well, I can work on this day, and I'd like to be out by this time.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we're willing to work, and work as local hires for
Yeah.
less. We complain less and work harder because we love it so much, and we love to make that magic and collaborate. And I mean, it's such a blast to play homeless Lynn. Number one, because the writing is hilarious.
It is.
It
Yeah.
is so good.
Yep.
And I mean, it's just been an absolute joy. And I'm so grateful to be a small part of something so special.
It is, and being a fan of Karate Kid, obviously growing up, and taking martial arts, which we'll get to your martial arts background in a second, which I find hilarious, and I have a number of questions for you about that. But
Okay.
and then knowing that Cobra Kai came out, I was not even aware that it was on YouTube Red, because I don't have YouTube Red. I didn't know anything about it. I became aware of it when it came out on Netflix, like the majority.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So you didn't even know for the past 2 years
well,
that there were 2 seasons.
I knew that because I started watching Cobra Kai, I think a year and a half ago, or as soon as it came out on Netflix. That's when
Oh, okay.
I watched it.
All right. So 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I had no understanding of it beforehand. I would have watched it on YouTube Red had I known about it. And
Right.
for me, it was that feeling of, should I watch this because I have such great memories of Cobra Kai? I don't want them to be ruined. And thank God it only enhanced it. It's such a great show. I'm making all of my kids watch it right now. I have an 11-year-old son who is, who's done some Taekwondo, tying into you. And he's just starting with a new school. He's doing kind of Filipino martial arts, Jeet Kune Do, Kenpo. Right now they're doing all sorts of Kenpo stuff. So he's starting to ask me about Cobra Kai. I'm like, dude, I need you to watch this with me. So I'm gonna watch the originals, and then I'm going to watch Cobra Kai again with him. But it's an amazing show. It's really, really great what they have done with it. I'm very, very happy.
And so you and your son, you're going to be starting a marathon soon.
We will be, yeah.
How fun.
He has to watch everything, and then we'll come to Cobra Kai.
Are you gonna watch the first 3 Karate Kid and then go into Cobra Kai, or what are you gonna do?
So the first 3, and then I want to watch the one with, oh my God, her name escapes me.
Jaden Smith?
He may actually have seen that one when it came out.
Okay. Hilary Swank?
Yeah, Hilary Swank. I wanted to watch.
Okay.
I want him to watch the one with Hilary Swank, and then kind of get to the Cobra Kai. I want him to have that. They're young. Oh, okay. This is a change, and I know the show does a tremendous job of doing kind of inserts with the previous stuff. So
it's perfected, right?
It's awesome.
I mean, I just don't know how it could get any better.
Yeah. Well,
except for have more homeless Lynn, of course.
And more episodes, right? That would be great, because there's so many storylines that, like somebody that Hannah Keppel, she was on the show. Very, very, very lovely young lady. She plays Moon, in case people are not aware, but she didn't get to do a lot in season 3.
Right.
I wanted more, because there were a lot of things that could have happened with her. And I think it's not her. I think it's just the fact that you're limited to 10 episodes, and that's it, right? So
and there are so many other people, and they're trying to cover everything that they can.
Yeah,
So,
and
I mean, that's the way I feel about Lynn. I mean, even though, yes, I definitely would like to have been in more than one episode, and a lot of fans feel that way too. I'm
yeah,
just grateful that they brought her back because, I mean, they don't have to bring her back,
absolutely.
but, she provides a little comic relief for Johnny Lawrence, who has quite a bit of drama going on in his life. So,
Yeah.
we all need to lighten up every now and again, right?
Lynn's a great character, and there's a lot of chemistry there, and that's the part that I think everybody is energized by. It's just that chemistry. So I know that you submitted your headshot. You got a you got a audition. I think your first audition was self tape, right?
Self-tape by Hannah Keppel, who plays Moon, by her agency in Nashville, because I was in North Carolina at the time.
Yeah,
So that agency take two of the recurring people on Cobra Kai out of Little Asheville, North Carolina. So kudos
that's wonderful.
to Jesse and Jono and Screen Actors Co-op in Asheville, North Carolina.
Perfect. So you did that, and then you get a callback where you actually get a chance to meet them. Uh,
I
I
did.
want I want to hear about the callback because taking a sidestep for a second from the acting perspective, there are different casting directors want different things, and depending on where you are and which coast you are, it's a different answer as well. But the question
Yes.
is, do you come in as the character or do you come in as yourself and then you transition into the character and then out of the character? You,
Right.
based on what I heard, you came in as the character and you stayed in character. So is that correct?
That is correct. I knew that I was going to have to just be all in because when my agent AMT out of Atlanta, when they called, I had forgotten to tell them that I had self-submitted this tape
Yeah.
because I do a lot of self-submissions. I do backstage out of New York all the time, and they know that I hustle, like hustling. But anyway, so they weren't surprised, but they were very surprised that I got a call back for homeless Lynn, the homeless woman.
Yeah.
And her name is just Lynn. The fans and I kind of just renamed her Homeless Lynn
Yep.
because nobody would know who Lynn was because they look at IMDb
That's
when
true.
they see Lynn, and my headshot does not look anything like Lynn. So
No.
they couldn't figure out who this homeless character was. So anyway, they were like, Susan, you have a callback for the homeless woman in
Yeah.
Cobra Kai, Lynn? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Because they thought that they had messed up, that it was some kind of mistake on their part, on their end. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to meet the big three. Because of course I had already done my research
Yep.
and found out how legit this project was. Because I mean, I don't submit on a lot of stuff. I'm very selective. I used to, but I'm very selective these days. Thank goodness. But the big three, John Hurwitz, Josh Hield, and Hayden Schlossberg, were taking this thing over, and they had the rights from the Karate Kid, and then Ralph and William Zabka and Marty Cover signed on. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like the perfect storm.
Yep.
So anyway, my husband was like, well, you're going to have to go in full character and stay in character.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you're right. So I had worn like some old, huge beat up sweatpants of his and a couple of sweatshirts that are way too big for me. And, I did the dark underneath my eyes. And I was going for a straight up drug addict look,
Yeah.
which I played drug addict. So I knew how to do that hair and makeup and teased out my hair. And I mean, she was a wreck, really. And when I was, you probably heard this when I was driving into the parking lot of this casting office, there's a security guard, and I rolled down my window coming from Asheville to Atlanta. And I'm like, hey, I'm Susan, and I've got a call back for this homeless woman, but I want you to look at me so you'll know who I am, and you'll let me get back in my car and not call the police on me.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, you look great, blah, blah, you're going to do good. So I just had nothing to lose. Nothing. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to do her the way I want to do her. She's not going to be this victim. She's going to be very sassy, somewhat provocative, maybe very provocative, but we'll see. And just, she's open. She's game. Yeah. So I walked in, and there was this long rectangular table. And there was Hayden, and then Josh is in the middle, and then John. And the camera was closest to John, right behind him. So I'm standing closest to John in front of the camera, and then the assistant casting director was reading opposite me. And I just had a lot of fun with it. I had actually picked up something at the Kroger supermarket where I changed, and the bakery, one of those little wrappers that you get the donut or the cookies with. So I had a couple of those in my pocket because I love to throw something, or just, I like noise and sounds and feelings and all that kind of stuff. So at one time I threw that wrapper at her when I'm doing the line, finish up and then beat it. This is my mart.
Yeah.
You ain't hustling no coin at my mart. And I threw something at her. I felt badly later, but I threw it down at her feet, and it was a piece of little tissue. So anyway, I felt like they liked it, but I mean, you just never know. And I think Josh gave me some direction, and John was smiling a lot, so I could feel John's energy, and it was very affirming. And they laughed a little bit at Lynn, but Hayden and Josh were a little bit harder to read. But I felt like I took the adjustment really well. Mm-hmm. And I may have done it a couple of times. I don't even remember. And then when I'm walking out, Hayden says, "Well, we got to do something about those teeth." And I was like, "Bring it."
Yeah.
Bring it. Oh, and I thought, I want this role so much, and I usually don't get myself all psyched up, but I just put it all out there. And when I did walk in, I think it was Josh that said, "Well, she's ready to, she came in character." So apparently not a lot of people had done that. Yeah. But I just remember Robin Williams is the late great Robin Williams is one of my all-time favorites. And when he auditioned for Mork and Mindy, you probably heard this story where he went in like this ridiculous outfit. And he just took so many risks, and they paid off. And not only did they pay off, but they worked because he was so passionate about it. Whatever role he was playing, he was just, he just loved it so much. And so I'm too old to hold back, really.
And again, lots of admiration for what you did, because the more actors I talk to, the more a pattern emerges that with the auditioning, with callbacks, with anything like that, actors start to book when they stop giving a crap. And when they go in there and they're going to do their thing and they're going to be happy with it regardless, then they start booking. I've heard this so many times where the actors were almost done with acting and they were just giving up, and they got this last audition, or the actor didn't want the role and they just decided to go audition for it, and they came in there just not giving a crap. And something happens where us as actors, we stop worrying and just start playing. And that works. That's what the casting directors are looking at. I'm not recommending for everybody to, not care about what you're doing, but there is that fine line, and the balance seems to be on doing what you want to do, as long as it's safe. Obviously, don't put anybody in danger. Do what you want to do. Don't worry about what you think they want. Just do you, and then it may work, it may not, but you'll feel better after it.
Absolutely. And I'll say this, because I've been in this business a long time, and I've gone through all of those stages. And when you want it, and when you're self-conscious, or when you're concerned about, did they like it? What are they looking for? Blah, 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 blah. That desperation is stamped on our forehead, and the camera reads it.
Yep.
They read the energy when you walk in the room. To please. It's the people pleasing thing, please like me, please hire me. And Kathy Laughlin, who's had an acting school in Tampa, gosh, she's retired now, just a few years ago, but probably 40 years. And she used to preach at us about getting out of that, love me, be my friend, hire me kind of mentality, because it never works.
Mhm.
So when you take the focus off of getting the job, I think that helps too. But there's also a fine line that I just wanted to point out. Because I've gone through so many ups and downs in this business, and I've been very close to quitting on numerous occasions. But you know, when when you say when you don't care, but there's a fine line because you don't want to have a bad attitude.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and I've seen that work sometimes, and I've seen people take that a little bit too far. So I just want anybody that's listening to make sure that you know, you always have a good attitude, because they do want to work with people who are easy to work with,
Yeah.
who are team players, rather than somebody who's going to have an attitude on set. So for me, it's more about being grounded in what I'm going to do in that audition, what I'm going to do with that character, and what I have prepared. So I have worked on it quite a bit,
Mhm.
and I'll have 3 or 4 different options in my back pocket.
Mhm.
Because what used to throw me in a callback is when, you know, I would go in and this is the way I wanted to do it. This is the way I have to prepared. And I wasn't great on the fly. I wasn't able to take a lot of direction.
Mhm.
I could do it as an actor,
Mhm.
but then it would get in my head and I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, they didn't like what I did. Why, what, you know? So, and then you're, you're dead right there. You got desperate on the forehead. So, I think being really grounded in the choices that I've made, but then being flexible enough to listen,
Mhm.
because sometimes we're so in our head
Mhm.
that I wouldn't be able to really listen to what they were asking for when they would give the direction. And I found too that this, you know, own it. This is my audition time.
Yeah.
You know, they want you to do well. So I'm gonna go in there with confidence because I'm gonna own this. Whether I'm the person they hire for this job or not, that's fine. They may remember you for something else
Yep.
if you're just, you know, not in their world or whatever. But just to own it, and to be confident, and to have, and the confidence comes from, you know, a lot of preparation
Mhm.
and a lot of studying and classes and doing it wrong, and
Yeah.
and all of that. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to grow as actors
Mhm.
when we take that leap
Yeah.
and just sort of that free falling, and it's so much fun to do, right?
Yeah, I just kind of take that stuff off of yourself, because we're carrying
Yeah.
so many walls that we've built up, and appropriate, not appropriate. I wouldn't do this at an audition. And I think with actors, and it's a circle, right? We start out where we just want to play, and this is a natural thing for us, and we enjoy. And then we keep getting more and more and more advice, and more training, and more training, and more training, until we finally get back to, oh, I need to throw all of that away, and I just need to be me, and I need to do what it is that I want to do, because then I'm actually me. And then when they're hiring, I'm not competing with anybody else, because it's just me. So either they like this character and the way that I do it, or not. And it's like all of that needs to be just fade out. And I remember I was taking a workshop with a casting director out of LA, and everybody's doing their stuff, and I'm reading the sides, and I don't know if it's similar for you, but when I read it, I kind of get an impression of who the person is, and I get an impression of what they feel like, what their physicality is, what they walk like, what they talk like, do they speak with an accent or a dialect, so I'm reading this, and this guy that I'm reading seems to me like he's just a sales, sleazy car salesman. This dude that's going to talk your ear off, and he's chewing gum while he's doing it, because he's that guy. So we're told so many times in an audition, you do not chew gum, because they actually need to hear what we have to say. But I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm doing what I want to do. So I do the audition, I get up there, I'm, doing my thing, I'm in that energy, I'm the dude that's just trying to sell stuff. I'm chewing gum. So the audition is done. The casting director says, I loved it. Get rid of the gum. Let's do it again. But
Yeah.
it's that thing of, I know what it feels like for me to embody the character, and if I
Yeah.
don't do it, it's going to come off inauthentic, and they're going to see it and they're going to
Exactly.
say, yeah, he's good, but he doesn't quite have it. Like I would
Right.
rather,
Well,
yeah.
it's just like too, with when we're auditioning or even playing the part, especially in an audition though, I think it's important to have a little something on your body or in your
Yeah.
pocket or in your mouth or whatever that sort of connects you to that character. And with Lynn, I think it grounded me more in her energy by being, showing up in character. Because I know when we're shooting and I'm sitting and I first get there and I'm sitting in that hair and makeup trailer and
Yeah.
the transformation begins
Yeah.
with just the way I look so different. I mean, it is wild to just sit there and look in the mirror at yourself and and just dirt makeup all over my hands and arms and legs and feet and face and neck and chest. And then underneath my nails, I mean, my nails are filthy. It just helps so much. How could I not just slip into that world of hers and just feel ready to play?
Mhm. That's why I
Yeah.
love doing period pieces, because it helps me transform, and I'm already there. I read, I do posting with a lot of acting quotes from famous actors, and more than a few of them say the same thing, which is let the clothes do the acting, or the
Yeah.
clothes are half of your acting. Once you're there, people see you, they automatically already assume things about the character. Those are the things that you can start kind of playing with. So it's awesome. I wanted to.
I just booked a period piece a feature film that's gonna be shooting, thank you very much, in New York, later in the year. I had worked with
Awesome.
these folks 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and we're doing a table read next week. And
Nice.
I think, like you said, the clothing, whether it is your body language and your
Yeah.
posture, and it just adds so much. So I'm really excited. It's set in the 1800s, so I'll
Yeah.
keep you posted.
Yeah. Sam Jackson always has something. He always wants to have some sort of a. It's either a tick or a way that he's talking, or something, scar on the face. Or he wants that, because it separates him from others. It connects him to the character. So everybody has that thing. I definitely I'm a
Yeah.
fan of that. Um, the first scene, right? So season one, your first scene, it's opening up in the pilot. You were there. Johnny has his first fight. Was there ever a moment watching it where you, because you are a second degree black belt in Taekwondo, you taught kickboxing, you competed yourself. Was there ever a point where, like, yeah, John, that's not really how you're doing the kick. We need to work on this particular thing. Like, or were you just observing and being in character?
Yeah, no, I never thought that. And I never, by the way, just for clarification, I never achieved my second degree black belt. I was in training
Okay.
and I had an injury. But but it was a long time ago too. No, I was so amazed that he just, nailed it,
Mhm.
and that he could kick his leg that high and
It was good.
fight and was in such great shape. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like if they asked me, if anybody ever listens to this, big three, they asked me to fight, you better give me 3 months at least to get in shape and get tuned up, and then half an hour to stretch out. Because, it takes a high level of fitness to do what these guys are doing.
Yes.
And I was just amazed at how athletic Billy Billy is.
Yeah.
Never occurred to me to tweak him at all. No. And then I was in the world of Lynn, and she's more interested in, that
Yeah.
half-eaten cold pizza over there that he threw, and then just kicking back on a Friday evening and watching the show. So
Yeah.
she was just in hog heaven because it was quite entertaining.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it at the time, but now, and soon after, I realized what an honor it was to witness Johnny Lawrence's first kick, first fight after over 30 years. So, I mean, I just cherish that. And I'm really proud to have been there and been part of that.
It's it was really cool, and I was surprised that he could still kick that high, because these are not easy kicks. I have
Right.
I have a bit of martial arts background, myself. I have a lot of martial artists and actors on the show, so it's a big part of kind of our thing. So
Okay.
I was watching it. Again, Karate Kid, the way that the movies were, was not exactly for the true kind of a real kind of fighting that was done. But what I was impressed with this show is that Simon Ray is there doing choreography. He's really working with the kids. You have a lot of stunt folks that are really really good, that are true martial artists, and the quality of the fighting has definitely improved a lot in this show. And that part, as a guy who loves martial arts, who watches martial art movies all the time, that part was kind of a really nice continuation and a maturization of it. So, as
Yes.
a martial artist yourself, what was your
Well,
perspective?
I'm glad that you approve. That's good to hear.
Yeah, not that my approval means anything, but it's
Well,
the
I mean, you have an interest in that and you're passionate about that. So it is nice to hear.
it's I love, again, martial arts. What Karate Kid did a fantastic job at was the real heart of martial arts, and the reason of why martial arts is around. The martial arts is not so you can be kicking ass. Martial arts is about the spirituality of it. Martial arts is about the discipline. It's about changing your life. It's about knowing how to defend yourself and knowing when to fight. So all of that Karate Kid did wonderfully. Some of the fight scenes, kind of, I thought were at a level of, the 80s movies there. And that's why I was like, oh, are we going to have the same thing with Cobra Kai this time? No. Even though I know some of the kids, they didn't have a lot of the martial arts background. Sholo didn't have, Mary didn't have, but they snapped into it quickly. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of really good fighting right now, so you can actually watch it for the martial arts aspect of it, and it's a pleasure to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just so fun to watch these kids grow and
yeah,
um, mature and get older and better and so skilled, like you said, in the
yeah,
martial arts end of it, in the fighting end of it. I mean, they're all great actors, we know that, but to take it to the next level and to be so committed, and I mean, it says a lot about the maturity of those. They're not kids, but the young adults.
yeah. No, it's I can't even think of anybody. Again, the casting was so good that as an actor, kind of watching, you're always watching for the acting of it. I can't think of anybody in the show that I don't like acting from, and that's always a great part to me, because I don't know, again, if you're the same way or not, but
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
you watch films or TV, and it's distracting when I see bad acting,
Yeah.
especially on big shows. They're
Yeah.
it's for me it's distracting. So I kind of always have to kind of put that part out so I can immerse myself fully into it. Cobra Kai, I've never ever thought about anybody as distracting. It was always like, that's a really great job that they're doing. So I was very happy.
Spot on. Everybody's just spot on, and I think it just says a lot about the big three. You've got these three guys who individually are so talented and such great writers, and obviously they're really smart business people too. So it's not just one guy trying to do all of this. You've got the three. It reminds me of like the Beatles. You've got John and Paul and George, and they all three
Yep.
write great music, but they bring something different to the table. And I mean, it's amazing just how many great decisions they make on a daily basis. I
Yeah.
mean, they are knocking it out of the park. And
Yeah.
casting is one of them.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then you've got the writing, and then you've got the love that they have for this because they're huge fans,
Mhm.
and it was their passion and their dream. So it just it starts with them, and then it trickles down with Ralph and Billy and Marty being so committed. And then what about? I mean, I don't want to put any Schulers, but any spoilers, but season 3 was like my favorite. Oh,
Same.
so good. And I mean, I'm in 3 episodes in season 1, so
Yeah.
that should be but it's not. I'm sorry. Season 3, because I love a little bit of romance and a little bit of this. And
Yeah.
I just loved it.
Season 3 was awesome.
Do you think it was the best season?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I mean, thank you. It's like a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, I couldn't stop. Like it was the beginning of my year, right? It came out and I was home. We just got done with the New Year's celebration, and I spent the whole
Yeah.
day just binging Cobra Kai
Yeah.
season 3. Yeah, that was
It
my.
was so good. They moved it up. It was like, this is fantastic. Everybody was so excited about it. And
It's
I mean, I think the whole Karate Kid Cobra Kai universe, I think everybody is just so thrilled. They got everything they needed out of season 3 and then
yeah,
some.
and I'm so glad that season 4 got approved. At least that's what I read and heard. I hope it continues for a lot more than that because there are so many storylines that should be developed. And
Yeah.
one of them I definitely want, especially knowing your prior martial arts background. I think as much as people love Homeless Lynn, whether it's something with Kreese, which by the way, I did not expect to like Kreese. I did not like Kreese all of these years, and season 3 made me at least appreciate Kreese, and I've gotten to a little more neutral with Kreese. So they did a great job again. But
Yeah.
I want Lynn doing some martial arts in whatever capacity. So if anybody's watching this and you're writing, please include something in season 4 or 5. Give Susan at least 3 months, but see if you can make that happen.
So, I mean, if you had your choice, would Lynn like
Yeah.
be defending Johnny in some way? She knows that Kreese is is doing Johnny dirty. So Lynn is kind of, she's going to play dirty with Kreese and beat him at his own game. Is that what you're thinking?
I think again, there were moments, and they did a lot of it in season 3 because there were kind of the big fights between Marty and the boys. But I think if Kreese is close to killing Johnny, that would have been a moment where Lynn steps in. That would
Wow.
be kind of
Yeah.
that perfect thing of no, you're not, because
Right.
and it would blow everything out because everybody would just be like, what is happening here? But I also see, Lynn and doing something for Kreese. And I see, whether it's being eyes and ears or whether it's just saying, hey, you know what, because I heard you talk about kind of the background that you did on Lynn. Well, she is former military, she does have some background. So maybe there is a reason why, Lynn decides to start doing some stuff and maybe take some classes, or Kreese makes her do something that she doesn't want to do for whatever reason. So there are a lot
Oh,
of
that's
storylines.
interesting. I like that.
Yeah, there are a lot of storylines that could be done with Lynn, because I
Right.
think again in season 3 it was a great insert. I loved it, but you have to have arcs and you have to develop the character, and there are many places where they can go with Lynn if they choose to. But again,
Right.
10 episodes is a very short period of time where you need
Yeah.
to wrap up a lot of stuff. So I don't know if they will. If they are, please do so, because again,
Oh,
Moon can have so many great things happen. I expected again, me watching from the side. I wanted more for Moon from season 3. I definitely think there are a lot of places that you can do some stuff with Lynn. So, but I'm sure that can be said. So for so many characters that they just have no.
well, thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate that. You know what would be interesting is to see what the chemistry would
Yeah.
be between those two characters.
Yes.
No matter what the writing is,
Yeah.
just that natural chemistry, that energy between Kreese and Lynn,
Yeah.
I, I have no idea.
Me neither. And it would be interesting because, again, both former military, both a little older, both have had their troubles, both have been on the streets. Kreese
Right.
obviously is not anymore, but Len still is. There's definitely an opportunity for that to be explored and see where that can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. My gut says that she would be very suspicious of him and probably have his number. She would see straight through him. But you never know. She might think he's cute. Who knows?
Maybe, but again, so Kreese has this wound, right? What turned Kreese into Kreese? Because he was a good guy, and then he turned into this, person that we all know. He has a wound. The wound is losing, a part of that wound is losing the woman that he loved. How do we know that there's no connection between Lynn and that woman? Maybe Lynn is her sister. We don't know anything, right? There are so many things.
But that's interesting. Nobody's ever said that.
Yeah.
Nobody, because like on my Facebook page, the group that the fans started, Cobra Kai's Homeless Lynn, there's a lot of theories about Lynn and her backstory. And I've never heard that, maybe she's connected to Kreese's long lost love that was killed.
And maybe that's a way, because season 3 established Kreese as not just a villain, but they gave him a real reason for being the way he is, but they showed him being good in the beginning. So maybe as an arc, if we're trying to finish up with Kreese being a good guy, maybe Lynn has a way of getting him out of that by bringing him back to what he lost in his wound. So, this is me making this up as I go along. The writers are much
smarter. It's fun though, right?
But there's a lot of stuff. And by the way, these theories, what I definitely will not be doing for season 4. I did that for season 3, and it was bad because fans have a lot of theories, and of course I'm interested, and I watched a bunch of videos of what do you think is going to happen with Ellie? What do you think is going to happen with this character? Here's what we think is the story. And that, when obviously it didn't, and many things did not transpire, I was looking for them to happen and they didn't, and that took away from me being fully immersed in the series. So I will not be watching anything before season 4 in terms of what people think is going to happen. I'm just going to watch. So,
but the bottom line is no matter what any of us come up with, it's not going to be as wonderful or as funny or interesting as what the big 3 has already thought of.
Yeah, it'll be great.
This is their world, right?
I know it'll be great. That's all I know for sure. It'll be great. Last thing I wanted to ask you, because again, you are a character actor and you've done a lot of work. I mean, there's Queering, which is a very interesting, show that I actually want to watch. Again, doing my research on you.
On YouTube, we've got 2 seasons, and we're doing Queering the movie. We're supposed to have started in this past spring in Brooklyn, and COVID hit. So, Queering web series on YouTube, seasons 1 and 2.
I'm going to put that below the video so people can find it quickly. I'm going to put that in. Querying link, good. And again, kind of looking through the types of roles that you have done. These are not, easy roles. These are roles of somebody, with PTSD. These are roles of somebody with loss. These are roles with people dealing with issues. What, as an actress and as, Susan, what have you found to be your most challenging role to play so far?
Oh, wow. I would say the most challenging has been the role of Ruth in I'll Be Here for a While.
Yeah.
And it's a woman who has early onset Alzheimer's. It's a short film. And we shot it in New York, up on the Upper West Side. And David Call plays my son, and we had somewhat of an estranged relationship. And it's a very artsy kind of film, but I was so proud to be in it. But just as a human being, I wanted to honor, this woman and what she was going through, and the decline in her mental state. And so I did quite a bit of research for that role. And that has been my most challenging. And I also felt a responsibility that I wanted to do the very best job that I could. Um, yeah, so I would say Ruth, and I'll be here for a while.
People should check that out. I when I read it, I thought that that may be your answer because again, as an actor thinking of how I would play that, that's not a that's not an easy thing to play at all
Right.
because many stages and yeah,
Mhm.
I auditioned for a role I did not get. I auditioned for a role of somebody with ADHD and a number of other things. So I remember kind of going through the same process of I really want to do this justice. I don't want to, do something that'll offend people. I want to be
Right.
very careful with this. So
Yes.
it was a process like that, and I actually got some good feedback on it. Hang on one second.
Good. You got feedback. Whoa, imagine
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I got some good feedback on it. They said that
That's nice to hear, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I certainly understand kind of that type of an approach and would do it again. Um,
Yeah.
Last question for you. If you had a chance to go kind of back in time and talk to a young Susan who's just starting acting and give her one piece of acting advice, what would that be?
Don't quit, hang in there,
I like it.
you know, and stay tough. And I'll say this, acting is a big part of my life. It is a very important part of my life. It's my passion, but I have a life. And I think it's important for all of us to have a life. I think it makes me a better actor, a more well-rounded human being, rather than just becoming so affected. My mother was in the entertainment industry. She was a jazz musician, and she used to say, "For God's sake, Susan, whatever you do, don't become so affected by this business." And it's really true because you can get caught up, especially when you're in the Los Angeles market. You can get caught up with all the beautiful young people and the competition and all of that. And I think we have to keep ourselves grounded, whether it's through your faith or your exercise or meditation or your support system, your family, your friends, your other interests. I think it's really important to stay true to who we are as human beings. And yeah, we can love this, but there's always theater. There's um, people are doing student films, and if you want to have that creative outlet, it's out there.
Yeah,
But I think just taking care of yourself and your heart and all of that is the most important thing.
agreed. And that's great advice, and I hope people are, going to listen to it and heed the advice. Thank you so much for coming on, Susan. I really enjoyed our conversation. Best of luck with the new season 4 coming out. Hopefully, there's going to be more to do there. Best of luck with your other projects, and you're always welcome if you want to come back.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, and thanks to
And good
everybody.
luck to you in your career.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This, during this whole thing started May 20th of last year because I was taking workshops and didn't have enough time to chat with people, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna start doing my own show and see where it goes.
Good for you. So here we sit. You gotta throw that fear out the window, guys, and just keep going forward.
Yeah, and thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate it. We know
Yeah,
you love Cobra
thanks.
Kai. We know you love acting, and we love you as well. Take care.